Obi a family girl and I'm a girl from a chia enyame and I will be dimi girl enyame ya me young boy. Sister be better if so no yene mikunu mikunu na me mama de ukunu afa ha o ukunu ko school on my ni esa hwe eja ko movie o sister ni de me mama de esa no nim se mikunu nyina me awali sister no that time 14 years since me 33 years na etwem pana ti wode mikunu da kuru bi da ye hwe eja ko movie ni wie ye no ene nkura ni nyina pi ene ka me na me si da mo se eja mikunu and assistant di pono shame no say what we be there na me say and the owu ye no betimi aye na me say betimi aye was enti the owu ye say ni tu betimi aye me say we the assistant e go on no say any be ye ma me re sa after so na kwan na ketre ma na ye dey and then down if you want to see asade ye no me nam down when the sister yi kem na mitimi jam si oh sister ma had wusu ana o si da bi me nsu akosi ye akosi ye since atam so no so ye me minim say what dey o su ti ana me jai sister ma had wusu ana o si da bi akosi ye.
Welcome. It's not a joke. From watching this video, do you think we're actually ignoring our boys? You see, most boys have been molested, but this is something no one really takes into consideration. We only consider the ladies. So when you hear stories like this, does it come to mind, or do you tend to wonder that are the boys or the boy child not vulnerable any longer? Is the vulnerability only associated with the girls? Well, it's something that no one really pays attention to. But most boys are passing, not most, but some boys are passing through issues like this. Ajia, before we came on set, you checked something on ChatGPT, right? Can you give us some percentages it gave before I bring Sir Black in?
Of the abuse
of the male child.
Okay. So it says that
just give us the highlights.
Okay, sexual abuse of boys in Ghana is a significant concern, though often underreported. This one, 2015.
Is there sexual abuse among
of boys in Ghana is a significant concern.
It's a significant concern,
though often underreported.
Please continue.
A 2015 study indicates that approximately 11% of boys had experienced sexual abuse.
11% of boys.
Yeah. Then more recent research from 2021 found that 10.4% of adolescent males reported sexual violence victimization in the previous 12 months. Okay, so that's to say in the previous, not far from 2020.
So even these are the statistics of the boys that reported. That's for the adolescents. And for the 10% you mentioned, it could be more. Because really, this is more or less like a data collected on not everyone. Like
These figures likely underestimate the true prevalence, as cultural norms and stigma can discourage boys from reporting abuse.
So Black,
yeah,
these are factual. Yes, because it tells us that there's a lot of these issues going on.
Yeah.
But because of societal norms and values, the boys find it difficult to report. So are we being fair to the boys?
Absolutely no. I think I'm also reading something from Meta AI.
Okay.
And I think that some of the highlights are in connection to what she just said. And I think that more or less like I think it's high time boys speak up, because boys have been in trauma or some form of depression for far too long. I think that the boys also need some form of help, just as the other gender I also was offered or kind of giving some help. So I think that in our previous podcast, I did say that things like this hardly, or I would say to an extent, maybe it doesn't bother society that much, because if a boy tells you that he's been abused, I think it will be treated with the least significance, if I may put it in this context. But I think
a funny comment.
Very good. But in one way or the other, I mean, this is very prevalent among some people. A lot of people have been through this, and more or less it's become like a social stigma. If you bring it out, I mean, as a boy, you're not supposed to voice out so many what problems, because if you voice out, it becomes more or less like, because at the end of the day, society expects men to do or to go beyond their exactly.
Yes.
So I think for me, it's about time, boys spoke up, and then make sure that the right things, and also more education needs to be given. And also, I mean, boys might, they shouldn't feel shy if something, yeah, I mean, if you happen to be a victim of this circumstance, Charlie, voice out. Yeah.
The societal norm is that when a boy is molested sexually and then he says it, people will consider him to be a weak guy, someone who is like a sissy. Kojobi is here. Do you get it? So it's something that downs on them, but they can't really speak up. Is it the way we bring them up? Because if you bring a boy up and tell the boy what's wrong from what's right, what to report and what not to report and all that, I don't think they'll be influenced by these things. Do you think mothers are even doing their quota in actually bringing up the boys the way they need to bring, at least from their side?
We are learning. We are young mothers, so we are still learning. But one thing that dawned on me watching it, I've watched it before, but watching it again, one thing that dawned on me was that at the point where this even happened, would the boy at the time, did he even think there was abuse?
No.
I know I've thought it was abuse.
He was enjoying it.
He was enjoying it. And at the time, later on, when he would realize that this was actually abuse, it shouldn't have happened. He's lived through it. He's had the experience. He's moved on to maybe do more. You see, we need to first realize that the children need to know what is right or wrong. They need to get their education from someone to be able to know that this is wrong. I'll say this again. I mentioned it before we started. The most places, it's from the home. At least the school is a little bit protected because you're under the watch of there are rules and regulations. Don't go here, don't go this. But in the home, and now maybe we have the nucleus, but we still have the system where the compound houses, mainly these things happen. Mainly it's the compound houses where parents can go to work, children mingle amongst one another. There are some elderly ones in the house, they go to their room once in a while. Yes, that is mainly where it's coming from. So one, the children need to have the education that this is wrong, this is not right. Because at the time, unfortunately, most children realize it. They might have lived through an experience or two without even knowing that it was abuse. What's the use of mentioning now when they are older? But it would also protect them from some of the things that they would have gone through, or they would have spoken up long ago, for the parent to know that I need to be careful of so and so, I need to be careful of so and so. And then they would grow up and they'll wonder why these things had to happen without them knowing. It's a lot, but it's not neglect. It's not neglect, because the same thing happens on the girl side. Now there's education, or there's a lot of there's that kind of advocacy, but the females grow up from the same place, and even though they may be told don't touch this, don't let anybody touch you, but as at the point they are going through it, if they are not able to say stop, there's still a problem there. So the boys, they can't say stop, or they feel you shouldn't say stop. It's all about the upbringing. It has a part to surely play in it.
So it's all about the upbringing, but you see, the issue of underestimation, like it only happens here, is one reason why these boys are suffering the way they are suffering. Because at times you might think it only happens in the compound house, and then you might think when you live in a house secluded with probably your cousins or whatever, or your few friends, it might not really happen. But it can happen anywhere. It can happen anywhere. And Hajia made a point that it's not neglect. But I'm trying to wonder if it's not really neglect, because when you look at all these social advocates, most of them, about 90% of them, are just for the girl child. They speak of vulnerability as if it's only secluded to the girl child. Hey, if a boy touches here, report. See, they don't even say if men touch here, report. If a boy touch here, report. If a boy does this thing, report. If a boy does this thing, report. But who cares about where the girl touches on the part of the boy, or where an adult woman touches on the boy? You see, it's something we don't really speak about. So how do you expect the boy to find an issue with that? Sebla, do you understand what I mean?
And I think, can I?
Yes.
Okay. You see, society, well, it may sound controversial, but it is what it is. I mean, you see, with society, anything against girl or a lady or a woman, it is more or less like people call it in Islam haram. Very good. And you see, even as an educator, if a boy comes to report to me that a girl has more or less like maybe hit him, sometimes I find it difficult to even believe, because I know that certainly a boy wouldn't come to report, because for boys, if you touch them, they will touch you back, as compared to girls reporting, even as well, right? And sometimes I see myself as a potential father who maybe will be going through some of these things, or maybe my son will come or my daughter will come and report some of these issues. How will I be able to handle them? And you see, I think that some of these issues, the earlier the better. The earlier the better, in a sense that we are talking about stigma, where you're also looking at it whether the boy has been neglected. For me, I think that if you see, we're also looking at it from a point where Haja was saying that some of these traits are learned from people living in a compound house. I think to an extent I agree with her, because if you've lived in a compound house before, I have lived in a compound house before, and if you have little ones growing in that compound house, Charlie, the kind of things they do, you have no idea, because one tenant is very close with or to the other, so children, both tenant children can play. Sometimes by the time you realize you are at work, your co-tenant children are playing in your bedroom with your children. Do you know what is happening? Are you getting my point? And also there are other elders in the house, some who equally can be described as pedophiles. Yeah, I don't know what they are doing. That is not to say that it only happens in compound house. It can even happen in more or less like a nuclear family living in their own gated house. But many a time it happens when there are a lot of people crowded in a particular space. So the very video we just watched, it happened in a compound house, because the mother wasn't aware that something
wasn't aware or didn't really see the woman as a threat.
Good.
She didn't see
the woman as a threat.
If it was
like
a man,
because they go there to watch a movie.
Yes, if it was a man and then the daughter had stayed over, she would have gone to see what the daughter is doing. But because it's a boy.
And you see, this takes me back to the very house I was born in, right? So there was one man in our house who was more or less like the party man. So on a Saturday, this man would just open his home theater, will be playing music, and then the boys, myself, and then some other few boys and girls in the house. Mainly, or let me put it in this way, most of the people who found their way in the man's room were boys. Majority of the children in the house were boys, and hardly did I even see my elderly sister there, nor other girls there. I get my point. So based on what I just watched, has really taken my mind back into time, that okay, probably it could be a factor because the person playing the music is a man. And if girls enter a man's room at that age, 7, 8, 9, then around, I think I should be around 5. So if your sister is somewhere around 11, 12, 13, and others are following, because these are girls who are attain certain pubic age, they'll be concerned. So the boy's mother didn't see the other lady as a threat. So he was like, oh, he's going to
no. That's why she even goes ahead to say, oh, uknu or in fast man.
Very good.
You understand?
I get yes. I get my point. And that is how come the boy also took advantage.
I get my point.
The boy was taking advantage.
He was taking advantage of it.
For me, I think like it is advantage in both ways. They really took advantage. They also saw it as both.
Okay, let me come to
it. Same thing where men say that when you rape a girl, when the girl, at times they can't say.
You see, I'm really going to ask a question per what he said. You see,
and you want to tell me that when a female,
when a girl is sexually molested, you see, assume she's a virgin, she'll feel pain. Do you follow? At times her walking might change. If she's even so young, depending on the size of the man's machine gun, she might even end up losing a womb. So there are others that need small children that have lost their wombs because of this. But you see, when the boy is sexually molested, psychologically, probably might harm me later or whatever, but we feel pleasure, and then we might not really think it's something harming us. And a boy, you never see it on a boy if the boy is sexually harassed, unless it's psychologically disturbing him for him to tell you. Even that's if he has the confidence to say it. But the ladies, even if she doesn't want to say it, at times we notice it. You understand? So it's two different things. The boy is being molested at the point in time. This is like this video. At the point in time where he was being sexually harassed or sexually molested, he was enjoying it. But he doesn't know that's sexual harassment on his part. He's being molested. That one way or the other, it will affect him, or it will affect a girl who comes in contact with him, because the girls will also suffer in his hands at that age. So do you think that's one reason why we tend to neglect the boy child? Because the boy technically has some kind of pleasure when these things happen, and then the girls feel pain one way or the other. Even if she likes it, she still feel the pain because she might be a virgin.
That's what I was trying to bring Mr. Black's mind to. You see, for the girl, I know at times what may happen to them may not go that far. So maybe there may not even be pain. It depends. It depends. But there's the tendency, based on the way we are raised, there's always the tendency for the woman to feel bad for the girl child to feel bad about what happens more than the boy. I don't know what I'll pinpoint it to. Whether, as you said, as the boys are allowed for that freedom, but there's always that tendency for the girl to be protected as a girl child more than the boy from infancy, from however I'll put it. Yes, from that. Maybe just generally because the man is considered the stronger sex and the lady the weaker sex. Maybe it's just because of that. So from the very beginning, this my boy, this my girl, you think there's some more protection you need for this one than this one. And subconsciously, it goes without bringing. That may be why, because as you said, psychologically, they will all feel something. They will all, yes. But that also happens to the extent to which they know it's bad and they want to voice it. That's when it will worry them. The pain is a factor. But what if what they went through was not pain? Some it's not always that the abuse may go to that extent of the man having something to do, but there may be touches. Even that may affect the lady, but that will surely not affect a boy. It will not affect a boy, but that is also abuse, and
it will affect him psychologically.
And in the end, he may also grow up and feel that it's okay and do it to other
yes,
people.
exactly. Please, let me say something. You see, the fact that we think that may not affect the boy is actually what actually leads to
this.
No,
I mean physically, like...
No, but
physically there is nothing to...
Touches and that may not affect.
But physically it doesn't affect both the girl and the boy.
No, the girl, if you tell the girl where you shouldn't tell the girl, she's affected. The next time she sees you, there's a difference in the way she relates.
Some boys have that same thing.
Walking.
Yes, but
no. You see, idea is actually speaking on. She's not speaking on the extent of sexual having sexual intercourse.
She was talking about the physical.
The touching, like you touch the girl's backside, or you fondle with the breast in a way. That's what I'm saying. That one affects psychologically both male and female.
But for physical, no.
Yes, both male and female to affect psychologically, because the boy, like I said earlier on, the boy might feel pleasure. The boy might feel pleasure, but the girl might feel discomfort.
Yes.
So it has. That's a mistake. It has. If it's not gotten to the point, if it's not gotten to the maturity. If it's not gotten to the maturity of handling that pleasure, that's pleasure, and then you give it to him, it messes him up.
So that means there's a point in their growth where they are not...
So
you destroy his mental focus.
No, all I'm saying is that he might think he's happy, similar to someone smoking probably cocaine or smoking weed. But you might think you're feeling high.
But years later,
but it's affecting you psychologically, emotionally, and everything. So you might touch a boy's genitals. He might erect, he might be happy, he might be laughing, he might have that desire for you to touch more, but you are sexually harassing him and you're warning him psychologically, you are changing his makeup, So tomorrow he might touch other girls or even other boys, and then that's when he will start realizing. So you put the boy in a particular situation. But for the girls, they feel instant, the same way the girls feel instant discomfort if you touch a part of their body. The boys might not feel that discomfort, but that pleasure alone is a harm to them.
So that might be a reason why maybe there's a neglect, because for the lady, even if it's just a touch, there will be some,
even a stare on the lady. Even a stare.
The mother, if you are the parents or any elderly person, can use that to even determine. Once she's in your company, unless she liked it for whatever reason, I'll not know. You see the discomfort.
But even the funny thing about the ladies is that, so Black, even the funny thing about the ladies is that she's not matured enough. And then you find her probably interested in the guy touches her. At a point in time, she tells the guy, is she full of exuberance? When the thing clears for her eye.
That is it.
Straight. You see, that's the nature of the girl.
So that's the emotional,
exactly,
the emotional setting.
But the boy is a different thing. Probably he might even be coming back for more.
Exactly.
But you've affected him psychologically.
And you see, when guys
goes on to play on.
Exactly.
And when guys grow with such mentality, sometimes they become predators onto other people.
Yeah.